We have Dr. Olusola Ayoola, the CEO of Robotics and Artificial Intelligence Nigeria. So you're welcome.
Thank you. The DG Don Commission, sir, all education stakeholders, including reps of commissioners across the southwest states, our elders, first beneficiaries of free education policy, including our Baba Tunde Kelani, permit me to stand on every other existing protocol. I know I gave them my slides, but I'm happy they are not projecting it because the Yoruba adage says that Oju Lorowa, not Ojumo Mauron Lorowa. So I would like to maybe do a nice wrap-up of all the conversations with a few lines that I have, and I pray I don't go above 10 minutes because so many things, so much have been said that are really vital, and I hope we don't lose those points. But I would like to start by saying that education is not cheap. Just like lack of education too is not cheap, as we are beginning to see with our insecurity across the country. But when you use the word free education, for many people, the quality, the value, and the investment erodes them. They forget that society is pouring a lot. Even in a country where the teachers are not being funded or paid adequately, the sweat of that teacher, with the hope that their reward is in heaven, is enough investment for a child that knows the value of education. So I personally want to suggest in our projections that even in maintaining this concept of free education, we should probably make use of the word sponsored, so people know that somebody somewhere is sacrificing for their education. And I said this because, for me, I had the very rare privilege of getting federal government scholarship to go to the University of Manchester for my master's. And then I enjoyed the UK's government scholarship for my PhD, same in UK. And one day I was just on the road and I saw a big banner across the city where the University of Manchester is that said, for the next 5 years, the university plans to spend £6.5 billion for renovation. I said, what are you renovating? I'm already impressed. 6.5 billion pounds, when converted to Naira at that time, 2015, was already more than half or maybe 1/4 or 1/3 of Nigeria's entire budget. And they are still investing. So that tells you that even if we are spending a lot, we're just barely scratching the surface. Now, having said that, I want us to now agree that the times have changed, as has already been said. Education is now digital in so many ways. Just take, for example, this conversation we're having. I'm glad that it's also being aired, on the virtual platform. What that means is that on that virtual platform already, some AI in there is taking note of everything we are saying and can summarize it for our benefits. So that is to tell you that our citizenry, particularly here in the Southwest, that are educated, must even now become digitally educated. But I have a problem. Because when we talk of digital skills, we are talking of the future, and this is now. So many people are going to be disenfranchised. They are going to be left behind. The digital gap is going to widen if people do not understand how to take good advantage of AI. Just as it was said earlier that if you are still doing things the longhand way, when you can maximize AI with AI or optimize with robotics and IoT, then there's going to be a problem. But I want us to cast our minds to our society where we have some evident challenges. A very well-trained medical doctor is trying to treat a patient, but is administering a drug that is adulterated. Because somebody somewhere who did not really learn anything, but just wants to be a doctor or a pharmacist by all means, thinks that I can just put one or two things together and form a drug. So that means that while we are training those who are going to be theory experts, who are going to be the real experts in the hospital or in the courts or anywhere else in the schools, we need to also look at the stratified level of education. Those who are not willing to go to universities, what kind of education are we going to even offer them? Because being in the space of makerspace, I would call that, which is robotics and AI, I have seen many people bring their children and say, this my child doesn't want to go to university. He said he just wants to build robots. Can you please train him? We spend time trying to let them know the value of physics and maths and chemistry in all of this. But for some people, they are just better with hands-on. And that's why we need to make sure when we're talking of free education or sponsored education, apart from the primary and secondary, we should also look at the non-formal education and have some centers like that. Because I worry a lot when you see mechanics across the states or painters or carpenters not being able to do some things to the level that they should. Do you know how many non-Nigerians, particularly from Togo, are being invited to do POPs for us? I'm glad I didn't have to. Because they are trained. And when you tell them, like there was one of them I told and I said, oh, the person I called before didn't do well. They said, oh, is it Nigerian? I said, yes. That's why now. If you call us now, they train us very well for this kind of thing. So that's to tell you that education must be stratified. Know which one know who you are forcing to go to universities, knows who you are allowing to chase other dreams of theirs. The issue of digital skills cuts across AI, cybersecurity, software development, app development. Why am I mentioning app development? Because AI is a data-driven system, and whoever owns the data owns the whole AI solution. So that means that whoever owns the app that is collecting data from you owns your AI, endeavor. So what that means is if we are not training people to know how to use data, to use AI, to protect data, cybersecurity area now, then we are not really going to go far. Curriculum must be revisited almost twice a year. Even at the level of teaching people how to build AI, we've had to adjust our curriculum almost twice now within a year. At the point we're teaching people how to build websites and then trying to get them all the way to how to build AI. And then we realized that the world has gone so far now that we must now teach them how to build what we call AI agents. But the span of 1 year will not be enough. So what did we do? We told them, oh, you know what? We will now include how to build AI agents. But that lesson of how to build websites, let AI teach you that one. So now we teach them prompt engineering on how they can use AI properly to learn some things that are basic while we go for the advanced. So that's to tell you that even the schools need all this curriculum revision. But also, we must try to ensure that they are retrained. The teachers must be retrained. We must ensure that projects are passed down. And this is very important for us to take home, please. If you ask me what was my final year project in university, I can tell you. And so many people too have. But all these projects just get stopped and dumped somewhere. Can we ensure that before, there's something I'm doing right now. It's a training we are doing for a company. And we've told them that all those who are participating, don't just defend your project. Tell us what the users in the community have to say about your project. So when somebody says, I'm building a solution for security in my estate, now go and deploy. Don't come and present it to us until you have deployed it. Yeah. Interview those that used it. Let them tell us how it worked. If they say it passed, then you have passed. If they say it did not work well, then you have not finished. So I think that is what we call project-based learning, which we must make sure we drive home in the Southwest. Then finally, partnership and sustainability. I know that we've talked about adopted schools, but we have to make sure that universities, polytechnics, college of education, schools of hygiene and nursing are in a way attached to training centers. Because there is this challenge of bureaucracy, where even to rejig a curriculum in a university must go through some processes. But at the level of training centers, any day, any time, an expert that is not a trained tutor but has a skill can be invited to teach. So we need to have that level of partnership. For example, my facility is not it's not an academic institution, but we are always on ground to support universities and all that. Either they come through internships or any other kind of research support. So we need to ensure that for every institution of learning, there is an attached training center. It will also benefit the training center. Then third component is the corporate society. Can we have organizations use the solutions that these particular students and researchers build? Because we have a case where no matter how good you are, the Nigerian corporate world may not even use your solution. Because naturally we don't trust our people, we don't trust our solutions. And there must be that level of mandate that every organization must show how many locally produced softwares or hardware or brain work have you used this year. Maybe that can, in a way, influence the taxation policy, if at all we'll be taxing them more or less. And then finally, a call to action. Let's ensure that brain drain is discouraged. For every investment, and I hope that, for example, the first beneficiaries will tell us, now that you came with your accent, I can imagine that you have abandoned us in Nigeria, sir. We have to make sure that all those that benefit from our free or sponsored education must bring it back to impact our society, so that in the future, when we talk about 70 years again, we will say, yes, these are the impacts that they have brought to our country. Thank you very much.